off totally?
Yeah, either unplug it, and this thermostat actually has an on-off switch on the side. Okay, if you choose to go with
that, might be a more comfortable way where you can find your set. You know, where you're
what about your electricity bill?
Good point. Early, I was discussing. I converted my home, which is on propane. During the winter time, I have about a $500 a month propane bill. Okay, that's not electricity, that's just propane. So I'm waiting for that to happen. But when I converted my home, the very first month, I saved $150 on my propane bill. And my electric bill only went up $20. So that's what, $130 savings? Yeah.
But that was the summertime?
That was just a month ago.
So what would it have normally been?
What's that?
500.
About, well, no, during the fall it's about 220, 225.
So they cut it in half about?
What's that?
They cut it in half, roughly?
Oh, easily. Yeah, the bill came in at $75.
Where are you living?
Mendocino County. Well, that's one.
So does it cycle between 400 and it just
It
goes
comes
through?
up. The initial startup is about 400 watts, and then it settles down to 350, and that's what it's maintained at.
And let's say we left it plugged in, it's going to kick off when? Let's say we didn't have a thermostat.
It's not going to kick off.
It's not going to kick off. It's going to keep going.
It's going to keep going.
And going and going.
But you could put a standard timer in the
You
wall
could-
first.
well,
and then plug
anything
it.
you control, any type of electrical
Right.
appliance with, or light fixture, you can control it there. You can have it on a timer. Absolutely. A lot of bathrooms, when they put these in, they'll put them on a timer.
Probably best to go
We've got,
by an inline thermostat.
Yeah.
He's going to pull some of that stuff up. Do you have any products that you want to bring in and set up? Okay. Just grab the seat and we'll...
You can have as many thermostats as you want. You can zone it. You can have one to do all of these. Absolutely.
And have an electrician hook it up there.
And then how long will it take to heat it up? Like, you turn it off for the night?
Personal experience, I have these set to come on at 5 o'clock in the morning, and by 5:30 the whole house is warm. From 60 degrees start to 66 degrees a half hour.
Okay, so you set it up for the morning.
Yeah, I have a programmable. Right.
It's half an hour.
Yeah. So that's 6 degrees in a half hour. I don't know.
That's pretty fast. I just fired off a 5-ton unit today, and it took me 45 minutes to get 10 degrees from 57.
Is that a heat pump or was it gas?
It's 9% efficient propane.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And that was working excellent too. I was really satisfied on the delivery of it. So that's really fast.
Remember now, this isn't forced air. It's radiant. Every object that it hits, including yourself, it will warm up. Any object. It's radiant heat.
You said it reflects off of metal?
It either reflect off a surface or absorb by it. Either way, any surface that it touches, the photons will heat up. So it's either reflective or it gets absorbed. Either way, whatever object, it will warm up.
Is it bad to touch the panel?
Well, yeah, I mean, if you hold on long enough.
Well, some people like to warm their hands up. I mean, that would definitely do it real quick for you.
You don't want to keep your hand on it too long, but as far as damage to like powder coating or anything, no, not at all.
What about next to like big sources of electronics? Like
Good question. I was concerned about that too, so I set my panel up pointing directly at both my computers. It's not a problem. And I left that thing on, I purposely left it on for about 6 hours and nothing.
Like what distance?
What's that?
What was the distance between the panel and
6 feet. Because I was concerned about that too.
So is there any electromagnetic, or is it just photons? It's not really...
Just photons.
Okay.
That's all it is.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Now, if you get too close, if you were to have an electromagnetic field sensor and you got too close to the plug, the
60
meter
hertz.
off, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, but as far as the panel itself,
Okay.
Are you privy to anything that Tacoma says, customer service, like somebody's got a titanium hip, there's a pacemaker, anything crazy? It's not making mice swing from the ceiling? Elephants grow?
I would think,
crazy?
I think that would be entertainment, wouldn't it?
Yeah, anything out of left field that,
We won't charge extra for that.
thank you.
Right.
Seriously.
No, not
You
at all.
haven't heard anything crazy?
Yeah, I'll tell you, if you go to the internet and you search anything, you're going to find good and bad about everything out there. I was having a real hard time finding anything bad about this, and I found lots of information about therapeutic stuff that people are using for far infrared, which I was amazed.
I found zero, and I'll be honest with you, I'm so skeptical.
Right?
I searched frantically for something wrong with these. And you know what the biggest complaint was? Looks.
Looks.
That's why they came out with these.
Gotcha.
That was the biggest thing. They did not want, the first generation, they didn't want those big ugly things.
White or black panels.
The white panels, they didn't want those big ugly things on the ceiling.
Gotcha. Okay.
That was the biggest complaint.
Well, why aren't these in Costco and Home Depot? Looks like you just put it in a box.
I don't think so.
There you go.
Not going to happen.
Well, that's
Because
fine.
we could not control it.
Well, control what though?
Control,
Try to sell us. Okay,
well, if we want to make maybe a dime on each, sure. But that's it. There was some talk about going to a big box store. And what they came up with, I don't know why, but they came up with something about losing control of how the product was used or installed. I don't know, but they have no desire to go to a big box.
You know, it's kind of like the personal computer. If you're going to wait forever for the price to drop down, you're not going to be able to use that personal computer. The price on this is down so much that if you waited for competition to fill up Home Depot and everything else, it might be 5 years. How much energy are you going to spend in the next 5 years?
Well, and that was another thing. When they first started building these, they came out with a cost that was, because there's no competition with these really, they wanted the cost to be not such to be a sticker shock to people. Okay, they could easily charge a lot more for these just because basically, you know, they're the only guy on the block.
Well, so right now, people are buying those Amish heaters, and they're costing about
Well,
the same as this.
you know, they are far infrared. Those Amish heaters or whatever it is. It is far infrared, but, and again, far infrared's been around for thousands of years type of thing, right? These have 2.5 times more heating value than those. It's 1 kilowatt in, 1 kilowatt out. That's it.
Yeah, we've got one that my mom's using right now while I'm down here. But,
I've kind of heard different things about these.
well, it depends on where you're at with them, but,
Oh.
I don't know
Or
if the one
city,
in Missouri,
maybe.
well, the one in Missouri, I don't know if it's the same size as hers, and it might have been from a different brand company, so I don't know if they're kind of comparable or not. I guess it depends how cold it is, but sometimes that one in the back room where we're at is a patio that's enclosed, so it's all clay and brick. It gets too hot for me sometimes when I shut it down, and I don't have it on a high setting because we've got it on a strip and it blows the breaker. We can put it on high, so it's always on low.
Well, let me wind this down because somebody else wants to come up.
One more question.
Yeah.
How would this work on the East Coast, like somewhere like in Ohio where it's really cold and I hear that people spend like $500 or more on heating costs? Would it be hot enough to warm up the house? I mean,
Heating is heating. Okay, now, it depends, of course, on the degree day, whenever you design it. But they took that into consideration too as the East Coast. 5 watts per square foot is how it's designed. Okay, it does matter about the heat loss of the structure. Okay, you don't want wind blowing through the window, but that's kind of the 5 watts per square foot is kind of an overkill to compensate for older homes and older buildings.
so it would definitely be cheaper than whatever systems they have there now.
Yes. Now remember, again, this is not. It's not heating the air. It's heating objects. One of the things I want to bring up, because I've had some clients in San Ynez talk to me about this, but they make outdoor units for things like horse stalls.
Yeah, last time.
And, exactly, and you have to buy the cap for it, of course, the outdoor cap for it. But it's my understanding, they have these in a couple of facilities for therapy, for older horses. I don't know exactly how all that works.
Like in the vet clinics or something.
Yeah, exactly, and that, they're using that for. They also have high-intensity units for outdoor, so you can get rid of those propane, red glow units.
What is high intensity?
The high intensity, it's basically 3 or 4 layers of this inside a panel instead of 1 layer. Okay, it's throwing out the photons big time. Yeah. So anyway,
Okay.
any other questions?
Yeah, somebody mentioned something about distributors.
Oh, talk to me
Yep.
afterwards. Yeah. We have
That's right.
basically 2 types of dealers: exclusive and non-exclusive, and then just come out to me and talk to me about it.
You should go.
Anything else?
Now, John, you're going to be shutting this down. Are you going to leave it here till we're done?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So if
Yeah,
people
I'll
want
be
to,
here.
what we're going to do is we're going to shift now.
Yeah.
John, I want to thank you, but what we want to do is give people a chance to walk up and touch that while we're getting Z up here to get his LED stuff.
Absolutely.
So John, thank you very much. So yeah, if you get a chance, why don't you come up and see this thing, touch it, feel it, get a sense of the heat that it's putting out at the point when you start crossing. A little hot. Stand that close. And then we're going to have Z up here to talk about some LED lighting.